Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United podcast. The lads are back in action. We've had an incredible weekend of sport. I'm your host, EC, and here's my co-host, Scott. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, pal. Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Enjoy that weekend, bud?
Oh, unbelievable, huh? Tennis, cricket, Formula One. I think best sight of this weekend was seeing the lads back in action, though, mate. What about you?
Yes, mate. It was incredible, wasn't it? The Cricket World Cup. What an ending.
Yeah.
Like the United of old.
Yeah.
The tennis, again, I mean, as long as a match at Wimbledon can be. And Formula One, Lewis Hamilton bringing it home again at Silverstone.
Yeah, and the lads winning 2-0, don't forget.
And a load of youngsters playing too, and a nice performance as well, mate.
Yeah.
So yeah, great stuff. And later on today's show, we're going to dig into the rumours that Harry Maguire to Manchester United is a done deal with a possible medical tomorrow. But first, 2-0 winners in Perth. We're pretty happy with that, aren't we, buddy?
Absolutely. Felt like the old days with the professionalism of pre-season. I mean, it felt pretty strong for a friendly. I don't think anyone told Perth that it was a warm-up friendly.
No.
Yeah, it was some real tackles flying in. I was just happy for Daniel James to make half-time. I didn't even think he was going to make it.
Well, we said he draws fouls. He said he likes to draw fouls, and he does it quite a lot. And we saw that. It was actually quite a good team for us to play because Perth like to play out from the back, and it looks like we now like to press, which is music to my ears. And like you say, they were getting in our faces. And so it was a good practice session, good practice game, wasn't it?
It was, definitely. You know, it was really encouraging to see us winning the ball back so high up the field. It'll take a few weeks for us to figure out how to do something with it, of course, but it was just good to see us pressing from the forwards and winning the ball back pretty high up there, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that's still missing from our game, bizarrely, is just creating clear-cut chances, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We've, for quite a while now, under Mourinho as well, and after the honeymoon with Ollie finished, just creating good chances has been a blooming struggle for this team.
Yeah, it seems like we've had a few forwards who just prefer getting involved in the play as opposed to finishing off chances. You know, back in the day we had Van Nistelrooy, someone like that, who just, his only involvement, he wanted just to be at the end of it, stick the ball in the net. And over the years, we've had a few players who just want to just get involved in the action first off, and sort of takes the clinical instinct away from the striker.
It does, but you know what? Our first goal came from Marcus Rashford, and it was a clinical finish on the spin, left-footed, really tight angle. That's exactly the kind of goal that we want our strikers to be scoring in pre-season, getting off the mark early and get some confidence under their belt.
For sure. What do you make of the assist, TC?
Well, it took a bit of a deflection, didn't it?
Oh, it's pretty outrageous. It was pretty outrageous. You can't say it wasn't.
It was pretty outrageous, mate. But we know he's outrageous. We know we've said that, haven't we? We said he's a great player.
For those who missed it, Paul Pogba created Marcus Rashford's goal out of pretty much nothing, with a little swivel back heel pass, which, fair enough, it did take a deflection, but bloody hell, what a pass.
Yeah, I mean, he scooped it out of the air, basically, didn't he? And threaded it through with his back heel. So, yeah, incredible stuff. Look, we know what kind of a player Pogba is. At least his attitude didn't seem too bad on the pitch yesterday. We'll give him that,
No, definitely.
And it was a different midfielder who grabbed the second. A young Garner, driven strike from outside the box, off the mark for the club as well. Great moment for the lad, eh?
Yeah, you can definitely see a lot of Solskjaer's training put into that, right? Just win the ball back as close as that to goal. Just have a shot with it. It was basically what I would expect Ollie Solskjaer to be doing on the pitch if he was still there now.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And let's have a little chat about a couple of new signings. Anyway, well, the two new signings. Daniel James, as you say, great energy, great pace, drawing fouls. He seems to create lots of space, not only for himself, but for people around him as well with that gas, mate.
He definitely does. And it's obvious how much fear the fullbacks have of him. As soon as he gets it, he's either given a lot of space in order to get around him, or they're right there on top of him. So he's certainly making them sweat.
Yeah, and he thread a couple of lovely balls into the box, one particularly that went all the way through to Delo, which Delo skied. But really there was, I think it was Martial in the middle or Chongi maybe. But really there should have been an extra man in there.
Yeah.
And if there was an extra man, he should have been in the end of that.
Yeah, he's definitely got some good instinct, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He seems to get it and just wants to move forward with it and create things out of nothing positively. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him grow as a United winger.
Yeah, and he also tracks back fantastically as well.
Yeah,
He's
he does.
very, very keen, tracking back, just winning little fouls and whatnot. So, yeah, I really, really like him as a player. He said after the game he was obviously amazed at the reception he got, and he was saying that he's trying to emulate Giggsy, and that Giggsy's been giving him words of wisdom as we suspected they might be. Really, really good debut, I think, from Daniel James, 45 minutes.
Definitely. Really, really looking forward to seeing him grow. And, I was actually really happy to see Anthony Martial play in the centre again. maybe he's earmarked for a good slot there this year, because his first year, I think he scored, 17, 18 goals playing through the middle?
Yes, he was superb.
I've always thought he was more clinical in the middle than he is out wide.
Yeah, Martial's an interesting one. If he can get his confidence back and if he can get his consistency back, we've got a new signing there. Because at the end of the season, you remember, I was kind of writing him off, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I was really fed up with his attitude. But look, it's a new season now. And if Ollie's happy to give people a chance, I'm happy to give people a chance. And Anthony Martial, there was a few little glimpses of the old Anthony that really got you going and thought, right, actually, if he can get his head down, that's a player there.
For sure, he certainly looked really hungry.
He did.
And had a couple good chances, one on the end of a fantastic pass from Jesse Lingard. Yeah, it was really good to see. I've always been a big fan of Anthony Martial.
Yeah, you have.
He's got all the ability in the world. It's just his attitude that lets him down sometimes.
Yeah, and you know what? Having Daniel James, Martial just interchanging positions as well was very useful.
Mm-hmm.
And James, he swapped with Dave Chong as well, didn't he? Chong went on the left and Daniel James on the right for a little bit. Funnily enough, Chong seemed to get a bit more change out of the left-hand side. I think it's just because the left-hand side is a more productive area of the United team. The ball does go through that channel. It's a natural thing. We've got Rashford out there, we've got Martial out there, whoever's playing out there. And we're still sort of trying to work that right side out. The ball still doesn't, it seems to get stuck on that right side. There's not really a flow out there still.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because that's the first thing I thought, is even when we tried to switch the formation, the play was still coming down that left-hand side. You have to say Ashley Young actually played pretty well at left-back.
Well, let's remember when he first turned into a fullback, Ashley Young.
Yeah.
He was a left back.
Yeah.
And we didn't want him right back because we had seen him on the right wing and he wasn't very good on the right wing either. Mm-hmm. So, but we seem to have forgotten this as time goes by and we've been stuck in this blooming cloud of misery, that actually Ashley Young on the left is actually quite a useful player.
Yeah.
Cutting back in, especially if he's got someone rapid in front of him. And we've got Martial, Daniel James and Rashford to play on the left. So not bad options.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was just, to be honest, more surprised that Delo couldn't get anything going out there. He had a few good opportunities to be able to get forward a little bit, but didn't really manage it.
Yes, mate. Well, that changed obviously after half-time. Wan-Bissaka came on for his debut for United. That's a proper right-back, isn't it, buddy?
He really does look special, doesn't he?
He's cool.
You just couldn't get past him.
Would you like to call him the Spider?
No, I think I'll be all right. I probably will one day, but for the minute, I'm all right, thanks.
And his influence seemed to spread across the team, mate. Well, that's what I liked about him. It was kind of like, okay, that channel's sorted now. And the physical presence of him out there on the right as well, it was really cool. Look, he looked like he'd had a few weeks off after the 21s. He didn't look as sharp as I expect him to be, but I was very happy to see him in a red shirt, proper right back. That position's sorted, I think.
Yeah, I was just more surprised the more I saw of him that you just couldn't get past him. He was so strong defensively, and it's been quite a while since we've had so much confidence in the back line, right? Yeah. And you just think of our more successful teams. We always had a great back line. We always had fullbacks who could really make a difference on both ends of the field. Yeah. And I'm really happy to see that. I really am.
And we also, we've tended to have one fullback who is a bit more defensive and one fullback who's a bit more attacking. Now, we all, of United fullbacks, we want them to be able to do both. But it does make sense when you think about it to have someone like Luke Shaw on the left whose forte is attacking, Wan-Bissaka on the right whose forte is defending, and they can both attack and defend. But it just means that you can organise the team around that. When we used to have it, even in 2008, Wes Brown played right back and he had Patrice Evra bombing down the left. And then you obviously have Gary on the right and Dennis Irwin on the left. Dennis Irwin can do everything, really, to be fair to the lad. But Dennis Irwin was obviously the more attacking of the two. And so if the two centre-backs become a three, then it'll be Wan-Bissaka who slips in there. That's obvious.
Yeah, but sort of as the game has developed over the years, it's very unlikely now to have a winger who hugs the touchline, right, and stays out there all the time. So when the winger does cut in, they do have this huge field in front of them to be able to go and actually create some chances. And I see him as a really good example of that he looks for the spaces in front of him. And when you have these wingers who do like to cut in now, I think that there's a huge opportunity to do that.
Yes, that's right, man. You've actually just jogged my memory of something, that when Daniel James did go to the right, one thing that I did really enjoy that he did, I said he wasn't involved so much. The play started going down the left more. But what Daniel James did is exactly the opposite to what you said that wingers normally do these days, is he went right out to that touchline. And he was quite happy to say, look, I know I'm 20 to 30 yards out of the action here. I'm quite happy to be the fact, even though it's my debut, even though I know it's 45 minutes, I'm happy to follow the instructions, stretch the play, and allow Chong and Martial to try and probe those gaps that I've created.
Yeah, you're right.
It was really good stuff.
Yeah, and when you got Jesse Lingard playing in the number 10 position as he was for most of the first half, a lot of that space in field is already being occupied by Jesse, who does bum around a lot. So if anything, it stretches the defence out a bit more and gives us more options.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. I really enjoyed a great all-round performance from Danny James. Another one that shone on his return to the club, Axel Tuanzebe. He looked cool as a cucumber, didn't he?
Yeah, he was really impressive. Really impressive. His confidence on the ball, being able to spray it out and bring it out himself. Sometimes he was really, really impressive, mate.
Yeah, and for such a young lad, I thought he had a really positive influence on those around him as well. I thought, his calmness spread throughout that defence in that first half. Look, I know we're playing Perth Glory. I know they were playing out from the back. But at the same time, look, it's the first game of pre-season. We can't really read too much into it. But he seems to have grown as a player, put it that way, over the last year or two.
You're right. And the player he was able to cool down was Phil Jones, who we've known to be impulsive as a defender and pretty clumsy. So,
although Jonesy did have one moment, didn't he, where he seemed to turn into a left winger and he bombed onto the ball, did a step over. I was thinking, blooming hell, he's on the fitness, and then he slipped over, didn't he? Incredible stuff.
I knew you were watching our first corner of the year with Andreas Pereira losing his footing and didn't make it the first man.
Oh God, mate! I tell you. I mean, if we do get Harry Maguire, what's the use? But mate, look, Tuanzebe and a few other youngsters as well. Teef Chong we've mentioned, Angel Gomez as well.
He was great, Angel Gomez.
Is it Angel Gomez, Angel Gomez, Angel Gomez?
I think it's Angel. I think we can go as far as to say it's Angel.
Angel, okay. And Mason Greenwood as well, looking like he might be a little option on the right. Look, I thought Chong was superb. I thought Gomez really dazzled. Greenwood, he needs a goal, doesn't he, for the first team?
Yeah, definitely.
He looks like that player, but look, he's been banging them in at the age group levels, but you've got to do it for the first team. As soon as he gets that first goal, that weight will be lifted off his shoulders, I hope.
Yeah, and it's the weight that Marcus Rashford never really felt until a few months in, right?
Blooming hell.
Him being able to get those goals on his debut really just opened the floodgates and let him flourish really quickly.
2 goals on your debut when you were just 18.
I just can't get enough.
One little scare was Luke Shaw having to come off with a tight hamstring. Ollie said he's okay. He said he played on a little bit after he'd injured it, so that tells us that it's not too bad. Just a tight hamstring, and he'll be fine as far as Ollie's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Another issue, Ashley Young was obviously given the captaincy for the first half. Juan Mata, the captaincy for the second half. Ollie in the press conference has said he hasn't made his mind up on his captain yet, and that for now, Young will captain the side while he's on the field. What do you reckon about the captaincy, mate? He was also asked whether Paul Pogba would be looked at for a captaincy role, and he said yes, but it was a very short answer. So what do you reckon, pal? We need a full-time captain again, don't we?
Yeah, I would, if anything, give it to David De Gea. I think he's the only one who you can pretty much guarantee his first choice.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't play yesterday.
Exactly. So there's a reason why it was thrown around a lot. I would think Victor Lindelof would be high up on that list as well.
I've seen Lindelof's name put around. Let's not ruin the development of a good player by giving him something that is going to be beyond his current development. Mm-hmm. I think it would be look, he's just got through this period where he's had the weight of the world on his shoulders and he's had doubters and all the rest of it. The last thing when he's on an upward trajectory we want to do is add pressure, I think. Mm-hmm. I would look, David De Gea call's cool. I'm up for that. If he hadn't flirted with leaving so much, it would be better. But I could go with De Gea. I could also go with Juan Mata as club captain and have an on-field captain as well. I'd be up for that too.
Who would that on-field captain be?
Well, that's a good question, Scott. That is a good question. It's really, really hard, pal. It's really, really hard. Your De Gea shout is as good as any. It really is. That would be my shout if he hadn't been flirting recently with a move away. Mm-hmm. The Pogba thing, look, it seems to me that Ollie's playing a little bit of a poker game here. He can't come out and say, Paul Pogba wants to leave, I want him to leave, we're going to sell him and throw his toys out the pram like all the fans want him to do. Because then Real Madrid come in tomorrow and they offer 89 million. They say, we'll just pay what you paid Juventus. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So Ollie's got to say this. So Ollie is saying, Pogba's a good lad, heart of gold, no probs. He said that he's going to be considered for the captaincy. When they asked him why would Pogba be considered for the captaincy, he says we'll discuss that when the time comes. So he brushed that away. But look, it looks like the club are playing a game of poker. From the rumours, they're saying now that if Pogba and Raiola continue with this diatribe about wanting to leave, then we're going to put the price up to £180 million. So I think that shut them up. And the other thing I'm hearing is that we will not entertain selling Pogba after the 8th of August either.
Yeah.
So all the things we said the club should do, it seems like they are doing at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah, you got to credit where it's due, right?
Mm-hmm. There's no need to throw the toys out the pram and weaken our lot. We got to play a very clever game here. Pogba and Raiola obviously went rogue, and we're acting with a bit of dignity and trying to keep our asset an asset rather than having to chuck him away for a stupid price.
For sure. And that's the only way we're going to get that kind of money and not just look like we folded, is if we show like we don't want to get rid of him.
Yeah. And look, some people say, that's the weak, that's a sign of a weak club. That's not. That's strong management there. I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. Mm-hmm. I can't complain. Also, Ollie was asked about transfers and he said, look, I want people over the line. I know that there's a time frame we're working within, but speak to Ed Woodward about it. And to me, that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Woodward would be able to give you the answer either, but at least ask him.
Well, no one's got his number, so it's fine. But, mate, on to transfers. Harry Maguire, the rumours now. Duncan Castle.
Oh, hang on a minute. What about the second goalkeeping kit, Tom?
What, the black?
Oh.
You like it?
Oh, I was all over that, mate. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I saw it and I thought, that's probably going to be first thing on his script tomorrow, is what do you think about the goalie kit? I can't believe you didn't say anything. Yeah.
I actually took a screenshot of it a few days ago to send to you, but I forgot to send it, mate.
I couldn't believe it.
I was going to give you a sneak preview.
Couldn't believe it. It actually reminded me of that 92, like the first Premier League season, 92-93, where we came out with that beautiful green goalkeeping kit, and I was a kid and just thought, oh my God, there's nothing going to be nicer than that.
Ever.
Sort of the same feeling I had with the purple and pink number. And then they released that blue one, and it was like, oh my God, that's even nicer.
Right, mate.
And it reminded me about that.
As we're talking about kits, it wasn't too bad on the field, was it? I mean, it's gross. It's gross, but it wasn't as bad, was it?
Because it looked gold, right? This thought that something could actually be made nice out of being coloured brown, it just doesn't work for me. I thought that after the 70s and 80s that was out the window, but apparently it's going to come back. But I think that they made it look close enough to gold that you possibly could, and it actually doesn't look that bad, does it?
It doesn't look too bad. It's not the best, is it? I miss the days when I blooming loved all of our shirts, but maybe it's because I was a little kid and I just lapped up anything they chucked at me. Yeah. I tell you what, mate, I just daydream earlier. I don't know why, about the old blue and white stripe. Remember, with all the names in it, and we won the title at Middlesbrough in it. Yeah,
we had a great goalkeeper shirt with that kit too.
We blooming did, yeah, we did indeed. But...
yeah, it was white and green. I remember the first game we played in that shirt was against Sheffield United away, right, when Eric chipped the keeper and won us the game.
Stop it with that goal. One of my absolute favourites.
But we had no idea it was coming out, right?
No, I know. His reaction afterwards.
Yeah, it was insane thinking that we could just come out with a kit on I think it was like a Wednesday night, and we wouldn't have any idea about it. And now we'd know 4 months in advance that it was going to be some sort of beige. What a different day and age we live in now, mate.
Leaks and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
That was the goal when Eric, he chipped it and then he did a sort of standstill and then pretended he was frozen. And then when someone approached him, he dashed off.
Yeah. What, that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that? Oh, that, yeah.
His little David Brent, yeah. Oh, mate, those are the days. A little trip down memory lane there. That's the problem. We get started. We'll be there for 20 minutes. All right, on to transfers, buddy. Harry Maguire apparently over the weekend told Brendan Rodgers, your old pal, and his teammates that he wanted out and had enough of him. Duncan Castles has said today that Harry Maguire is done to us.
Really?
60 million plus 20 million in add-ons and a medical tomorrow. So that's what he said. Look, he does have a habit of jumping on breaking stories, to be fair. But the Maguire rumours are gathering pace and we could have an answer 24, 48 hours, mate. Yeah,
well, let's hope this is the final push because I think we're getting into the time that we need something to happen now sooner than later. A lot of this waiting game is it's already gone, mate, and now we just need to get them over the line.
Mate, it's the 14th of July and the window shuts on the 8th of August. Yeah. It's creeping up on us like you would not believe. So, yeah, we need Maguire over the line. And you know what? We've seen Wan-Bissaka. We've seen the difference that makes. Let's not play games here. Harry Maguire stepping into that defence alongside Wan-Bissaka. We've said it before. That will transform that defence. You've got Victor Lindelof there. You've got Shaw on the left. That's your first choice back five with David in goal. Mm-hmm. That's a massive, massive upgrade, mate. It really is.
Yeah. It definitely is. And hopefully give us a big target to aim for and attacking corners, mate.
Yes.
Don't want to see you pulling your hair out.
No, exactly. And also defensively as well. We missed someone who wants to head the ball, who wants to attack the ball, who wants to get in there. You know, when that happens, what happens is other people are led by it. I remember seeing when Rio was injured and Chris Smalling was stepping in alongside Vidic, I think 12-13. And Chris Smalling was outdoing Vidic at being Vidic.
Yeah.
Smalling was flying into everything because he's got a role model next to him. He's got a guy next to him showing him, look, this is the way you be a centre-back. And Smalling's like, right, well, I'll have a piece of that. You get your first one and it feels good. You smash someone and you carry on doing it. So I'm thinking Wan-Bissaka is going to encourage our defenders to defend more aggressively. And I'm hoping Harry Maguire will encourage us to attack the ball more in a defensive manner in terms of heading the ball away too.
For sure. Let's get a good central defender in, and now let's go and work with it.
Yeah, and look, he's brilliant with the ball at the feet, great in the air. And then we're going to have obviously Wan-Bissaka at right back, who's a fantastic aggressive tackler. The defence is looking a little bit more balanced as well, with the kind of attributes you want from the back four.
Yeah, you're right. You have to say as well, McTominay played pretty well yesterday as well.
He did, and he's really growing into a Manchester United man, isn't he?
Yeah.
His attitude, he's grabbed that label we gave him, sort of United boy, born and bred. He's grabbed that and he's run with it.
Yeah.
And he seems to get us, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I really, really enjoying watching him.
Yeah. One thing I will say, mate, is that midfield, it does cry out for a new body or two.
Yeah.
We've lost Fellaini, who obviously was an option. We've lost Ander Herrera, who brought the best out of Pogba at times. And Matic is a year older.
Yeah, don't forget, we got Fred coming in.
We got Fred coming in, we do. But look, if Pogba stays, yeah, I get it. That's we're still cool. Pogba goes, then we really need bodies.
To be honest, the most interesting thing was seeing Juan Mata play as a number 10 and moving in more in field now. And I've always said he's got a lot of intelligence in such a small area that he'll be able to pull some strings around there.
You did. You called that actually, mate. And I highlighted his lack of physicality. But in this formation, it might work. In the way we set up, It might work. And look, sometimes you're in a different situation in a match. Sometimes you need a goal, you're chasing it. And Juan Mata is a number 10. Well, he had his best season ever, didn't he, as a number 10 at Chelsea? Was he tucked in behind?
Yeah.
Was he tucked in behind Torres?
I think so, wasn't he?
He had his best season. It was under Benitez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Rafael Benitez, unbelievably. But he was sensational. I think it was his best season stats-wise and performance-wise. He was a different man.
Yeah, you can just see that we are favouring towards a lot more intricate build-up. And I think he's, as I say, a really good pawn to have in that little chess game.
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think so. And maybe we will have a new body soon. Bruno Fernandes still on the radar.
Yeah.
As a recurring comment on the old podcast, the Bruno Fernandes section. Rumours from Portugal are that it's just a price tag. We're just trying to be a little bit more strong in the market, not be bullied into paying extra all the time. And we want to pay 50 million for him. Sporting want more. And it's just a little bit of another game of poker going on.
I just hope it's not the Wesley Sneijder of 2019, mate.
Yes, mate. Yes. If it comes down to it, and Sporting and Leicester probably know this, we should just pay the extra. And that's the problem, isn't it? Every man and his dog knows pretty much what we need, who we want. And why not wait a few more weeks and try and squeeze that extra bit it's millions of pounds, isn't it? That's what we're talking.
Well, it's funny though, isn't it? Because if we wait long enough and do actually manage to sell Pogba for £180 million, what will that do to the price we'd have to pay? We'd have to pay more because they know we had all that much more. And we'd also have to pay more because we've just shown that Paul Pogba is twice, 3 times what we're willing to spend for Bruno Fernandes.
And as we said, that might be what's happening. Ollie might have said to Pogba, look, come on the tour, behave yourself, and we will get replacements in and we'll sell you at top dollar and we'll move on. But we've said to Pogba, you have to behave yourself. You can't be leaking stuff. You can't have your agent mouthing off in the press every other day. Otherwise, we'll put the price up.
Yeah, it looks like that's what's happened.
Yeah, it's true. And obviously, it seems like we're trying to get rid of a few players, but the wages are becoming a massive problem. We seem to have incredibly high wages and then we can't shift a player.
Yeah.
Because we've just paid such a high amount in wages to the guys.
Yeah, you're right. Matteo Darmian can sit and make 80 grand a week. No one's really going to spend that on him.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we should start giving people wages in sort of relation to the transfer fee, because it seems like even when we get a bargain, we end up paying their wages as if they're a blooming £50 million player. And then we sell him for 20 million, and then the other team's like, well, we're not going to pay him 300 grand a week because he's not worth it.
Well, no, it's funny, isn't it? Because you sign a player
Bizarre.
and in the contract you say, well, we'll give you 15, 20% yearly wage rise. And so come the 5th year of that contract, they're actually making almost double what they were making to start with. And it's astronomical, some of these 5th years.
But they're not double the transfer fee.
Absolutely not.
So, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
To be fair.
Definitely is.
And one scare leading into the game, obviously we had the news that came out that one of the backroom staff had fallen ill. There were all kinds of rumours going round. He was labelled as a man in his 50s, which narrowed it down to basically 3 guys. And then when you saw the doctor saw to them, it was pretty much down to 2. Mark Dempsey was the man who was taken to hospital. He's been released. He's fine. He's going back to England. He's not going to stay on the tour. We don't want to go into it. We're not into doom and gloom, and we're not into chasing stories that really shouldn't be chased. But just we wish him well and hope he gets back to full health.
Absolutely. Let's hope he gets better.
And he's back with the squad in a few weeks.
Yeah, I really hope he gets better, mate.
We wish him well. We're glad he's all right. And we're a team. We're all united. One goes down, we all go down together.
For sure.
Simple as that.
For sure.
Anyway, Manchester United back on the field, and 2-0 victors will have been a nice tonic for him. Thanks for listening again. Subscribe, like and share. We're on iTunes, Spotify and all the podcast apps. Follow us on Instagram at United100podcast. We'll be back after the game against the Leeds Scum on Wednesday, ready for Thursday morning. Thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, pal.
Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.